Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. Lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you.
Let me try again. Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And tonight I'm talking to Chris and Lucinda, who are a couple living in Johannesburg area. And they've been using LifeWave now for about 9 months. And these are the patches. You can see the one I've got on my face here. And amazing stuff. I can certainly vouch for it. And yes, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and we're basically going to go into the expectations of the patches and testimonials and all sorts of other bits and pieces, which I think will give you a lot of background to the actual patches themselves. Now, I'm going to bring our guests on, but before we do, don't forget this Thursday, I've got Jeff Kubanelli coming back on a live stream. Last live stream we had with him, we exposed how the Ruperts and the ANC were basically using the profits from dormant pension funds to fund black economic empowerment and the ANC members of parliament, you know, their shares so that they could become billionaires. Totally criminal what they're doing. Over 600,000 views. 600,000 views. And on Thursday night we're going to be talking to Jeff about a project that no one's ever heard of before, called Project Spiderweb. And this is how the Ruperts have influence over the ANC government. There's absolutely no doubt who runs South Africa, and it's not a Ramaphosa, let me tell you. But let's get our guests on and get back to LifeWave, but that's on Thursday night, so make sure that you keep that evening open, because it's going to be a heck of a show. There we go, that's where I need to go. Hi, Chris. Hi, Lucinda.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Good to see
How
you
you
both.
doing?
Excellent, mate. Excellent. Now, you've had a huge turnaround in your life in the last. You've had a pretty rough track during COVID, but you know, since you met Lucinda and since you got onto LifeWave, I mean, your life is just going like a Boeing, isn't it?
Scott, it completely turned around. I got involved with LifeWave stem cell patches today, 8 months ago, on the 24th of November last year. So it's been exactly 8 months. And if you look at me, I mean, as you know, I'm 74 years old, and look how good I'm looking.
Yeah.
We have D8.
well, my grey sideburns have almost disappeared. And, I'm starting to look younger and younger and younger, so I'm not complaining. In fact, just before we got you on live now, I was just saying to you guys that the wrinkles under my eyes have disappeared. And, it's like an anti-aging thing. It's quite fantastic. But I guess something that we need to cover, seeing that we're going to be talking about the product from a very practical sense, is the history of LifeWave. Chris, do you want to tell us about the history of LifeWave?
Yeah, no, completely. Anyway, only joking. I'm not 74. I'm 48 years old. Just in case people were wondering.
No, we can see. Anyway, look, Lucinda looks about 25, so I think you've done very well anyway.
So the way my journey started was quite synchronistic. Nothing in life happens by accident. I was actually, end of last year, probably about October, I was on a Zoom call with a couple of people, and a friend of mine by the name of George that stays in Spain saw me on the Zoom call. And at that stage I was working 14, 15
Can I just
hours
interrupt?
a day.
Can I just interrupt for a second? George is in the side chat and he says, "Hey Chris, hey Lucinda." So just so you know, you want to say hi to George?
Hi, George.
Okay,
So nice that George is on.
But back to you.
Yeah, so George, he saw me, and I've known George for about 2 years, and at that stage I was hitting complete burnout. I had that foggy brain syndrome. I literally had black rings under my eyes. I was dead tired. And George saw me on the call and he said, "Chris, you're not looking good. You're not looking healthy. I've got something that I think can help you." He sent me some information, and that was beginning of October. And he sent me a PDF and a video clip. And when you're so busy, things kind of go over your head. It was only when George sent me a testimony. He sent me a 6.5-minute voice clip, middle of November. And he told me about a friend of his in France that had been suffering from tinnitus, that ringing in the ears, for about 40 years, and said that he got onto these patches, and after a couple of days, he started getting results. And then I thought, wow, that's interesting, because Lucinda's been suffering with tinnitus for over 4 years, which she'll talk about shortly. And the other thing he spoke about was a friend of his that lives in New Jersey. His name is Harvey. His son has got autism. And Harvey and his wife flew to Mexico last year. They flew to Mexico twice to get traditional stem cell injections put into him. And that cost $22,000 US, and it didn't work. And that's the thing with stem cell injections. You've got a 50% chance that it will not work, and they're very expensive. Where he got told about the patches just on a year ago, and he thought, $22,000 versus $100, is this really going to work? And they said, what have we got to lose? And they put the patches on him. And after 3 weeks, their son got onto the swing on his own, got onto a bicycle on his own. They saw improvements in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So, and what's quite interesting is my nephew has got autism. So the information that George shared with me, I could relate to, both on the autism side and on the tinnitus side. So I said, "George, you've got my attention. Send me some info." He said, "Just scroll up."
I should say that one of my Australian team below me has not slept for years. One of those people who just lies there in bed and just, can't sleep. And she's been on silent night now for about 2 months and sleeping like a baby.
Wow, absolutely amazing. That is amazing.
And of course, you get X39 too. But anyway, yeah, please carry on.
Yes, so what I did was I registered and my patches arrived 2 days later, the X39 patches. Now, the X39, basically, this is the flagship of LifeWave. It was the product that was developed just on 5 years ago, which really, in a nutshell, what it does is it activates your copper peptide, which then reactivates your own stem cells. So there's nothing going into the body at all, non-transdermal. It is 100% completely natural. So like I say, nothing goes into the body. So I thought, you know what? I'll put the patch on. Now, the place where you put the patch is just below, behind your neck, or 2 fingers below the belly button. This is what the patch looks like. Here we go. There's the patch.
Yep.
Here, I'll actually take it off. Here we go. Here's one I put on this morning.
Yep.
That's what it looks like. And it's got 3M adhesive grade that sticks onto your skin, like, the company that makes the plasters, right? And I put this patch onto the back of my neck, not really thinking too much about the expectations. I thought, okay, if it does something, it does something. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But what I did was I put it on every single morning. Now, the patches are made with an efficiency of about 14 to 16 hours. So the way that the patches work is the recommendation is 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So basically, when you wake up in the morning, you put it on. When you go to sleep at night, you take it off and put a new patch on. And on day 5, I was actually sitting outside on the balcony with Lucinda. And I said to her, my goodness, I looked at the trees and I said, the trees look greener. And then I looked at the sky and I said, the sky looks blue. She looked at me thinking, Chris, are you okay? It's like my world was in black and white and it suddenly turned into color on day 5. But the biggest thing that happened for me is the mental clarity. And that's what they say happens when you're reactivating and rejuvenating your stem cells, is the mental clarity that you get. Thereafter, just my energy levels increased. Another thing that happened for me is my vertigo disappeared. Now, I've been suffering with vertigo for about a good 4 years now. And I would take motion sickness tablets about 3, maybe 4 times a week. And what I noticed after about a month and a half is I didn't take any of those tablets. My vertigo, dizziness completely disappeared as well. So what it did for me was absolutely mind-blowing. But just quickly going into the history of LifeWave and how it started. The person who started it, his name is David Schmidt. He's a scientist and an inventor. He actually comes from a family of inventors. And in 2002, he was working with the US government, and he patented like a submarine with propellers working on like a vortex, but without the actual physical propellers. And then obviously 9/11 happened. They didn't have budget to follow through with the designs. And he was sitting in his car and he got this, he calls it a download. And this information came to him where he sort of took this technology and thought, hang on, we can turn this technology into a patch that can actually reactivate your stem cells in your own body. And it took him 2 years putting it together, and he put it forward for testing, and it did what he said the product would do. So we call LifeWave a 19-year-old startup company, because the first 10 years really was putting all the patents in place. I'll talk more about that now. But most importantly is the clinical trials. I've done over 82 clinical trials on the product. And he's also a 2-time recipient of the Advanced Technology Award from the International Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Now, most people only get that once. There are not many people in this world that have actually received that award twice. So basically, in a nutshell, LifeWave started in 2004. So it's a 19-year-old company, as I mentioned. It's in 84 countries around the world. But because of the launch of X39, which was just on 5 years ago, that's where the company's hit an exponential growth curve, where in 2020 and 2021, the company did $28 million turnover. But last year, in 2022, the company did $280 million turnover. The company has 10x'd its turnover last year. Now, most companies, as we know, after COVID, what's happened with most companies, they're either downsizing or closing doors. This is really starting to get out there because of the difference that this product is making in people's lives.
Yeah.
But something that really got my attention when George shared this with me is the patents. Now, I don't know about you, how many companies do you know that have got patents? 1, 2, maybe 3 patents? I mean, that's a lot for a company to have 3, maybe 4 patents.
I can tell you that I actually had a patent. Well, it was a patent pending, which is very different to a patent, with my company, Interactive Presentations, back in the... I hope everybody can hear me now. Okay. But this is back in the sort of early 1990s. And that patent was basically the shopping cart that you see on eBay. That's what I had actually patented before it had actually got that far. Technology got... I actually had the patent pending for that. Cost me $3,000. And I said, okay, that's it. Now I own the patent for the shopping cart. And he said, oh no, that's only the start. He says, now you've got to patent it in every country, and that's going to cost you about $1 million. And I said, what? He said, not only that, he said, but, these big IT companies, when they try and use your technology and you got the patent, they're going to take you to court because they want to try and bankrupt you so that they can actually push your patent aside. And I said, okay, this is too big for me, I'm out of here. And I just let it go. So patents aren't fun things to have. You've got to be a Bill Gates or someone who's got endless amounts of money to throw at them. Back to you.
You're correct there. It's got deep pockets.
Deep pockets, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a fact. I'm glad that you brought that figure up because you are spot on. To do an international patent, one patent, you're looking at about $1 million US to do a global patent. Now, so LifeWave doesn't have 10, doesn't have 50, doesn't have 100. Listen to this. LifeWave's got 133 registered worldwide patents for this product. 133. So a lot of money has gone into LifeWave. And that's setting the foundation. And what it does is it puts LifeWave into a complete league of its own.
Yeah.
It's exclusive. We say with LifeWave, there's actually been no competition with this product. You can only get this technology through LifeWave, where it's not a Me Too product. Where you're comparing different ingredients. My pill's better than your pill. My liquid powder's better than your powder. This is completely different. And like I said, the company's done 10x its turnover last year after COVID. So
you know what I find? You know what I find remarkable, Chris, is that when we talk about LifeWave, it's what it's doing is reactivating your dormant stem cells, which go to sleep, and it's non-invasive. So there's nothing. If you take a nicotine patch, for example, I believe that nicotine patch actually puts nicotine into your body, or a little low level, and that sort of. This puts nothing into your body. It's just using radiation and waves and light, and it's using that to rejuvenate the stem cells, and it's quite extraordinary technology. It's the sort of thing that Nikola Tesla would come up with. So this David Schmidt must be an absolute genius, and it friggin' works. I can vouch for it. It works. Yeah, back to you.
I say David Schmidt. I don't think he's from this planet. I think he's an alien.
Yeah, I think he is.
This is alien technology. It's it works on a concept called photobiomodulation. Okay, that's quite a big word. So let's like downplay that. It's phototherapy.
All you need to know is it works.
I couldn't agree with you more.
No. Yeah, okay. So anything more you want to say about the history? Because I'd like to move on to the important issue of expectations when you start taking the patches. But yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. No, completely. I'll just quickly finish off on what you were saying there is, it works on frequency in your body. And like you said, nothing goes into the body. If anybody wants to really go and look at the clinical trials and the patents and the hundreds of pages on exactly how the copper peptide and all that and the science works, the website is www.startx39.com. Everything from the product point of view is on the website. So I agree with you 100%, Scott. When people ask about the technical questions, for me, everything is there. Go and read it. I don't need to know all the ins and outs. I just know what this product has done for me.
Yeah.
I know what it's done for my mom. I know what it's done for Lucinda, and a lot of friends and family that we know, and the hundreds of people that we're in contact with. The product works. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Now,
so
I'm going to put Lucinda into the limelight now, because talking about realistic expectations, Lucinda, when you first started using the patch, you didn't get any direct benefit. You basically thought nothing was happening for a couple of weeks. Tell us your story, because Chris was badgering you to keep on using the patches even though nothing seemed to be happening. Tell us what happened with you.
Yes, so it did take me quite a bit longer. I would say close on 2 months before I saw my first bit of magic. And in the beginning, it was only small things like I used to have that energy slump in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I could push through a little bit longer. I definitely felt like the clarity of thinking was clearing up. No brain fog, right? So those were the first few things that I saw. Then in month 3, Chris and I go for our walks every morning, and I could definitely feel I could breathe deeper, and there was a bit more stamina, and also sleep has improved. And that was also a big one for me because of menopause and everything else that was probably, glitching in the system. And then at month 4, I introduced 2 new patches to the range. The one was the SP6 that I will talk about just now.
Right.
And that was for menopausal symptoms. And then the Aeon patch, we called this our happy patch, our hidden gem. And that was for my tinnitus. So that was only at month 4 where I introduced new patches. Before that, I was just on X39 daily, and I kept on patching even though I didn't see massive results, and everybody around me was seeing amazing results. So, and then only at month 5 did I feel that my hot flushes and some menopausal symptoms have totally disappeared. And that was for me, I think we jumped up and down with joy for days. I couldn't believe it. And this was after trying a lot of other things. So for me to know that the patches is basically balance things in my body. It can't replace or replenish hormones, but it brought it to a balancing position where I didn't have all the symptoms necessarily.
Yeah.
Then the following month, where was I? Month 6, I could feel that there was a change in my tinnitus. So I didn't have the ringing as frequency, and the pitch was lower, so not such a high pitch. So that was amazing. And at the moment, I'm only getting it every now and again, but still ringing at night. So tinnitus is a journey. It's a healing journey, and it will probably take a little bit more time, but there's very little in the world of medicine and holistic healing that heals it completely. They often can't even determine what causes it, so therefore the healing process might take a little bit longer. Then around month 6, oh, I need to see, sorry. At month 7, I got a really, really bad cut on my finger with a very sharp knife, and I probably cut through all the layers of skin.
Wow.
And some flesh and a nerve, not to get graphic.
Oh.
It wasn't that bad. But by day 3, I had to actually look to see on which finger the cut was.
Yeah.
Because it was healing from the inside out. And that wasn't because I placed a patch close to the cut. That's because my body had basically a reserve of stem cells that were active, and they could go exactly where the call was for the healing to happen on my finger.
Well, that's interesting you say that, Lucinda, because I think something that I've learned with these patches, and this is from talking to people who are under me, who use the patches, is that often the benefits don't go exactly to where you wanted them to go. Your body actually uses those stem cells in areas that it sees as important. So even though it appears that nothing is happening, those stem cells are working somewhere in your body, and you might not realize that you've got kidney damage or you might have got something else happening, and that's where those stem cells are working. So this is another aspect to this whole thing. It's your body that's basically now got a new tool to use to actually heal you. And look, over a period of time, you'll start seeing those benefits on the areas that you want to work, but they don't necessarily happen straight away. Chris, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, you know what, the X39, I've got like a nickname for it. I call it a heat-seeking missile, because what it does is exactly like you say, Scott. When you put the patch on, your stem cells are clever. They will become any organ or tissue in the body, and what it does is it's going to go and find where the problems are. So exactly like what you said, you might think, I want to use the product and I want to get relief from X, Y, and Z, but there's more critical or more serious issues that need to be dealt with in your body first. So what it's going to do, like a heat-seeking missile, it's going to go and fix that area first, which is exactly what happened with Lucinda. Because, I got results in 5 days. My mom got results in 3 weeks. People around us were getting results within a month. So by the time we got to a month and a half, Lucinda was saying, "What's wrong with me? Why is this not working for me? Is there something wrong with me?" And I just said to her, keep pushing. There's other parts in your body or areas in your body that need work on first. And what it does is it also regulates your body. It resets your entire body. In fact, there was a study that was done in a recent study. I think it's about 14 out of 15 people lowered their vascular age by an average of 8 years just after being on the patches for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then going back to rebalancing the system, what the stem cells do is if you've got high blood pressure, what it's going to do is it's going to lower it. If you've got low blood pressure, it's going to raise it. So what it does is it rebalances your body. It does the same with diabetes, it does the same with just about everything. So that you spot on there, Scott.
Yeah. Well, I just want to show people something very quickly, and that is my hair. Now, if you go back to March and have a look at my sideburns, I'll just take these off for a second. The sideburns where I've just put my hand were grey, and they were literally, these sideburns here were grey. These sideburns here were grey, and now they're black. And you just have to go back to my videos back in March, and you can see how my hair is going dark again, and it's you can see that. Back to you.
Tell everybody about your eyes, Scott.
My vision side, yeah. Well, as people know, I have a patch underneath my good eye because I'm blind in the left eye. And my long distance vision has improved dramatically. My short distance vision is I still need to wear glasses, as people know. But whereas in the past, if I went to a coffee shop and I would sit outside and see cars going past and people walking past, from a distance of about 20 yards, faces would just be a blob before I started taking the patches. Now I can actually see detail. I can recognize people from 20 yards. I can pick up car registration numbers from 20 yards. And that's without glasses. That's without glasses, long distance.
Without glasses.
Yeah,
Wow.
without
Wow.
glasses. But short distance, yes, I still need my glasses. But I have macular degeneration in my good eye. But it is completely, well, it had stabilized before I started using the patches. And I stopped taking the injections because they were putting floaties in my eye, and I thought, well, look, I've got to take a balance here. But now with the patches, I'm very comfortable that macular degeneration is now under control.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And you know what, Scott, and that goes right back to what we're talking about, having the realistic expectations. Imagine if you decided to put the patch on for 4 days and said, oh no, nothing's happening, it doesn't work. And people actually do that. And I think, my goodness, I've seen it where people have had issues in their body. They've either had an illness or an accident where they've been on heavy medication and they've been for operations, they're suffering with pain for literally 40 years, and get onto the patches, and after 2 weeks go, oh no, I don't feel anything. This is a waste of money.
Yeah.
I think to myself, you should have taken that 2 weeks of patches and rather given that to somebody else who needs it and deserves it, because that is completely unrealistic. You've had an issue in your body for 40 years and you want it to be gone like that. We live in a drive-through, breakthrough society. We want that instant gratification.
Yeah.
That is unrealistic. You've got to have patience. The minimum we talk about is David Schmidt. He talks about the 90-day protocol.
Yeah.
Now, a 90-day protocol, yes, we've seen results in weeks, days, hours, minutes, even seconds. But everybody's body is different, which we need to understand. Everybody's body is different. So when you talk about a 90-day protocol, that's how long it takes for your body to basically rebalance itself. The Chinese philosophy, what they say is anything new that you, not that you're putting anything into your body, but any type of new regime, anything that you're starting new with your body, they talk about the concept of every decade that you have been alive, you need to be on a product for 1 month. So, and you add the 90 days on top of that. That's the Chinese philosophy. And the Chinese live to over 100 years old. So they onto something.
Absolutely.
So if you have a look at, say, you're 50 years old, you've got to be on the product for 5 months and then add another 90 on top of that to completely get your body to an optimum state and an optimum level. And we've seen results with people. There's a lady that's part of our team. She suffers from a disease called trigeminal neuralgia.
What's that?
They call that. Sorry.
What is that?
It's a pinched nerve that goes right into your neck, into the basically into your brain.
Oh.
They call it the suicide disease from the pain. And she's been suffering from that for 43 years. She had a motor car accident, and she got onto the patches, and she felt results like literally within days. And then, see, what happens is your body gets to a certain point and it hits a plateau. It gets to a certain point and hits a plateau. So people need to also push past the plateau. She was on the call last week. She's finally made that breakthrough after seven and a half months. And Ingi is 60 years old. So it just proves the point, because she's been completely pain-free for the last 3 weeks. And that's the first time she's had.
I think we should make the point too that these patches work better and better and better for people who are older, because more of your stem cells have gone dormant and gone to sleep when you get older. They start going to sleep, I believe, when you're about 30 years old, don't they, Chris?
Well, you know what, the fewer stem cells you have in your body, the faster you're going to age,
Yeah.
and also the slower you're going to heal. So by the time, at the age of 30, your body loses about half of its stem cells. At the age of 60, your stem cell activity is just about non-existent. And that's why at the age of 60, all of a sudden, all the aches and pains and wrinkles and gray, everything kicks in. But your healing process is so much longer. So yes, people over the age of, let's call it 50, are getting absolutely amazing, phenomenal results.
You know, I just want to talk to the actual stem cell, because this is what I didn't know, and I found absolutely amazing. This is after I started using the LifeWave patch and I was doing my own research. And what I learned was that, you know, at that point of conception where a sperm goes into what they call an egg, the egg is actually a stem cell. That's what it is. It's actually a stem cell. And stem cells can become any single cell in your body, from a liver to a kidney to a heart cell to anything. That's why they're called stem cells, because they are so flexible. They just adapt and they fix all those different things where there's damage happening. And it's an amazing process. I'm not going to go through it now, but how your body defenses work with stem cells is quite extraordinary. But the thing that blew my brain is that this report was saying that point of conception it's actually a stem cell that is actually fertilized, and then it actually starts creating all the different organs through that, from that one little stem cell. It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's move on a bit. Now, Lucinda, you're going to take us through some of the products that LifeWave have, and I think you've got all the patches there. Do you want to just take us through some of the, not just the X39, but tell us about the X39 as well, because the X39 is like the major product. It's an absolute amazing thing. Back to you.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to start where LifeWave began and just work forward, and that might just make sense to a lot of people. So in 2004, yeah, the first product that was created was the Energy Enhancer, right? And that was with the Navy SEALs, and then eventually with the Olympic swimming team, and we know the controversial story there around that at the time.
Do you want to tell us that story? Tell us that story.
The swimming team, the US swimming team in 2004, Michael Phelps and his team was wearing the the Energy Enhancer patches. This is also one of two that come in a set of two. So you've got your tan patch and you've got your white patch, and you wear these in together as a set. And they use the patches during the Olympic race. And there was a lot of controversy around that, saying that they were doping because they were wearing something and it must go into the body. The patches were sent off to test. David was actually part of an interview that was held to explain how the patches work, and they were cleared from anything that was against their name, and they were given their medals back. So that was the start of the patches with LifeWave, the Energy Enhancer. And then we have the IceWave, and that's specifically for pain. Yeah. And that also comes in a set of two. Okay. And these specific with the two is to balance the positive and negative protons in our body. Once again, if people want to find out more about all the technical stuff, it's all on the websites.
Okay. Can I just interrupt you there for a second, yeah. Lucinda? Marlena, who's watching tonight, she's been using IceWave because of her knees, and just this is very relevant to what we're saying here. She was basically stuck in a a wheelchair when she went out to the shops and stuff like that, and she could hardly get out of her chair in her house. She was really chair bound, and she was wheelchair bound. But after taking Ice Wave for a few weeks, she found that the pain that she suffered, because she has no padding in her knees, it had all disappeared, and when she moved her legs, there was this excruciating pain. But she found after a few weeks that she could start walking. And now she's walking around the shops without a wheelchair. And I bet in the next year she'll be running around the shops, because that's Marlena, she's just, but yeah, a bundle of energy. So yeah, Ice Wave works. We know that. Back to you.
Perfect. So Ice Wave is also for immediate pain, and specifically with Marlena, we also added the X39. So the flagship main product together with that one is what gave us the results. But we have to remember, LifeWave is a 19-year-old company, so Ice Wave, Energy Enhancer was some of the first products, and now recently we have got X39. They all still have a place and a functionality and have its own power. Then the next range is the Y-Age range. We've got the carnosine, and these can be used together or separately. Carnosine is for health on the heart and the brain side, right? Then Aeon, this one is the happy patch. This is what we call the hidden gem, and this is what worked for my tinnitus. So it helps with inflammation in the body, also reduces stress, anxiety. It's just a beautiful, hidden gem, like a beautiful blue energy, and it just does so much. This is also a patch that can be worn during the night and the day. So, and then the other one is glutathione. Lots of people will know the power of glutathione, also antioxidant. If one has, for instance, a bit of flu and stuff like that, this will support the body in a lot of ways. So this was created to create longevity, the Y-Age, and we can use those separate or together. Then we have Silent Night, Scott, the one that you mentioned.
Yes.
And that is just a beautiful, what they say is the vibration creates stillness. So just imagine if you can just still yourself when you go to sleep at night and just go into that frequency and have good, proper rest. Once again, in conjunction working with X39, that will just help, it will create the platform and support the patch. Then SB6, all right, this is the one for spleen 6 meridian, and that helps with weight management, appetite control, and then hormones, like I said earlier, not necessarily to replace or restore hormones, but to balance the symptoms that hormones can give, and that's the one that I used to totally remove my hot flashes.
Right.
And I think, okay, so you can go through.
Well, before we move on, I just want to say what I find remarkable is that it's now becoming very clear to me from all the stuff that I'm seeing on the internet, and this is not from conspiracy theorists, that vibrations and frequencies are basically a critical part of life. And we've never really realized that in the past. And this is why these patches with the things they're doing non-invasively with the frequencies is actually making things happen inside the body. It's quite extraordinary technology. I mean, it really is. It's mind-blowing, actually. Now, let's move on. Now, we've given a couple of testimonials, but Chris, is there something you'd like to just add regarding the products?
Talking about going back to the word frequency, I'm glad that you actually mentioned that. It's quite interesting when my patches arrived. I spoke to George that morning. I said, "Hey George, my patches arrived. I'm going to stick it on and it'll get absorbed." And he said, "No, Chris, you totally missed it there. Non-transdermal means not absorbed." And George said to me, "Chris, it works on frequency." And that's when it got my attention. I thought, "Whoa, wow." And that's everything in life. Everything resonates at a certain frequency. And that's basically exactly what Lucinda was saying with the Silent Night. We actually call it the sleepy patch.
Yeah.
It just it puts you into a complete different frequency. We're reading a book called Good Vibes, Good Life, and just links so beautifully in with LifeWave.
Yeah.
In fact, Albert Einstein, he said, future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies.
Yeah.
Future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies. And not only Albert Einstein, but we all know Tony Robbins. He wrote a book, he published this last year, his new book called Life Force. So Tony Robbins, you can see how thick this book is, 600 and something pages. And in chapter 2 and chapter 3, he talks about peptide therapy and stem cell therapy. So it's becoming if you want to call it the
buzzword. Yeah. Look at that. Talk about synchronicity. We both said buzzword at the same time. Yeah.
So that's what it's all about. Is basically turning the clock back. Is basically de-aging, and that's what David Schmidt says. He made the statement. He said that it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. That's what we're sitting with in our palm of our hands right now.
Now, look, I do want to cover the cost aspect of patches, because for a lot of people, they're expensive, especially in South Africa. And I mean, I've got to a stage now where I've been using the patches now for a few months, and I've now got a little downline below me. And one of the things about this product is that the creator, David Schmidt, didn't want to promote it through television or through magazines or stuff like that. So he has a network strategy, which for me and for Marlena, for example, our people below us, actually, through the revenue we earn, because we're now marketing the product, so we're like being paid to market the product, we're not only helping those people get better and get over ailments, but those products we buy, they don't cost us anything anymore. We're basically getting that product every month free of charge because of our downline. And then the downline, when they actually get people under them, they get the same benefit. They start getting this product at no cost. And in fact, it gets to a point, Chris, where you're at now, where you're going to a conference in the US very shortly with Lucinda, and you'll be meeting David Schmidt, and you're at a point now where you're earning a really nice income from the marketing that you've done for LifeWave. Do you want to tell us a bit about your story when it comes to that side?
Yeah, completely. So Lucinda was talking about the story with David Schmidt in 2004, getting in front of the Olympic swimming team. And the way that worked is he had a meeting with a doctor friend who said, oh my goodness gracious, you need to meet another doctor friend of mine. A week later, met with his friend who ended up having another meeting, and it was about 6 meetings down, and 3 weeks later he found himself in California in front of the Olympic swimming team.
Yeah.
And that's when David Schmidt made the decision that this product sitting on the shelf is not going to just jump out and tell a story of what this product has done. He made the decision because of how he got in front of the Olympic swimming team, is word of mouth. Now, word of mouth is the most purest and most powerful form of marketing that you can get on the planet.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about real life people sharing real life stories, and that's the quickest way to get any product into the marketplace. So he made the decision to turn it into a network marketing company. Where when I spoke to George, and he said to me, it's network marketing, I said, I am so happy, I'm so blessed. That's like music to my ears. I haven't been in the network marketing industry for over 25 years. And, it's like riding a bicycle. I just, what the turning point for me, the catalyst was, number one, what it did for me. And then number two was the big thing is what it did for my mom, right? And I thought, I'm gonna share this with the world. And I've been sharing LifeWave with people, and it works on a very simple system. It works on a binary network marketing system. Network marketing is factually it's the fastest growing industry in the world.
Yeah.
And specifically after COVID, people have lost their jobs. People are looking for things to do, and you can turn this into a very lucrative business. And what I love about it is it's not about a handful of people doing a lot. Network marketing is about a lot of people all doing a little. And like you just said, Scott, in the beginning, once you start sharing with people, that really compensates the cost of the product. So you're actually then getting the product for free. But once you start building a team and you start looking after your people and helping your people, sharing the product and sharing the business with other people, you get paid a commission for that. And I look at myself, there are no words to describe the gratitude that I have for LifeWave, the product, and from a financial point of view. If you had to say to me that this is where I would be now, 8 months ago, I would have said you are smoking your socks. It is absolutely impossible because, a lot of people have tried different traditional network marketing companies before, with not getting many results. The thing is, you've got to throw yourself in and do the work. But what I love about LifeWave is this is product driven. I don't speak to anybody about the business side of it. I only talk about LifeWave and what the product has done. And what happens is the business side follows on its own. Yeah. And it grows organically and naturally the way the industry was initially developed, designed. And, I'll give you an example. I spoke to a lady in January. She saw a post that I put on Facebook. Now, she'd been suffering from lower back pain for over 10 years and said, Chris, I'd like to order the X39 from you. And I actually had the sleeve sitting at home on my desk. She gave me her postal details. I got it in the courier, sent it through to her. And 3 weeks later, she sent me a WhatsApp saying, Chris, my back pain is 75% gone. Wow. I'd like to order another sleeve of patches. So I said to her, I tell you what, Debbie, why don't I give you my registration link and then you can actually buy it cheaper and buy it at wholesale price. So she said to me, yeah, but Chris, I don't do that networky thing. I said, you don't have to. I'm just giving you my link so that you can then purchase the product on your own when you want to at wholesale. And about 3 months in, Debbie sent me a message saying, Chris, where do I get my link from? So I phoned her up and I said, Debbie, why do you want your link? She goes, no, I've got somebody that wants to join. So I said to her, but Debbie, I thought you don't do the networking thing. She goes, but this is different, Chris.
Well, I just want to say, and this is just letting people know that below this video is actually the link to all the information you need on LifeWave on Loving Life TV. And if you do join, you'll be joining my line, and we will certainly look after you. We've got WhatsApp groups where you can actually put your questions, talk to people. It's a whole network. It's an amazing little family of LifeWave patches. Now, talking about the Olympics, did you see Novak Djokovic during the Wimbledon? Did you notice what he had on his chest?
Yep.
A LifeWave patch. He had this is the world's top tennis player. He had a patch, and he had like it was a piece of like a plaster over it, but the patch, he took that piece of plaster off at one time, and you could see the patch, the LifeWave patch, and he was playing tennis while he had the LifeWave patch on. Now, if that isn't just so good as a sales tool that you've got the world's top tennis player wearing LifeWave patches when he's in absolutely amazing condition. So he's obviously using ones like the energy booster and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's absolutely phenomenal. And, we've all heard the saying before, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
At Lifeway, we say the proof is in the patch. Let the patch do the work. Let the patch do the work, and everything else just follows so organically
Yeah.
and naturally on its own. Like I say, when I joined today 8 months ago, and uh, I just started sharing it with my friends and family and everybody that I know. I sent a copy of the testimony of what it did for my mom. She typed it out and sent it
Yeah.
to me, and people are like, "Oh my goodness, send me more info." And right now, I've got a structure that is just sitting on 1,000 people. My structure,
Wow.
and we're talking about a passive income,
Yeah.
which is the most amazing thing. And this is what LifeWave can do for people, give you a complete passive income. I don't like to talk about the type of money that I'm earning, but all I will say is it's very close to a five-digit US dollar income per month, literally around the corner from there. And that's in the matter of 8 months. And
Wow.
that's a passive income. And what's so beautiful, you can literally increase your cash flow immediately. You've got no limits on earnings at all. And the biggest thing is you have business with a company that you've literally got no risk.
And
If you can't do anymore,
you know what's also
mhm.
so nice, Chris, is that you meet people who also use the patches, and you chat and you share stories and testimonials, and people open up about how the patches have helped them. And what I want to do now is I want to actually play one of these little testimonials that you sent me. I've got one here from Piretta, and I've got one from Desiree. Which one should I play first?
Wow. Puretta?
Okay, I'll put Piretta up. Um, okay, so this is someone who's using the patches. I'm just going to play that video clip. Here we go.
Okay, so there we go. Hi, everyone. Yeah, thanks, Chris, for inviting me on this. I've been a little bit silent. We've had a whole bunch of things going on, school holidays and mom's coming to visit from over 1,000 miles away. So yeah, it's been a busy time, but thanks so much for inviting me to share my story. I got involved with LifeWave on the 3rd of Feb. Sandy actually contacted me and said, look, this is something that you have to look at. And I thought, well, it couldn't hurt coming from Sandy because I trust her with my life. So when she said, stick this patch on, that's the first thing I did. And I thought, oh, well, let's see what happens. Okay, so I stuck the first patch on, and, I just kept putting patches on. And about 6 weeks in, she said to me, P, how are you feeling? And I said, well, I don't know. I still feel more or less the same. And she said, listen, how are those migraines of yours? And I said, actually, to be honest, I can't remember having had one in the last 6 weeks. And only then did I realize I'd been patching and I had not had a single migraine for 6 weeks. Only to realize after that I'd also had no period pain for 6 weeks. So, which was actually quite strange, very phenomenal for me, because that was a big deal in my life. And then I thought, well, I heard everyone's stories on LifeWave, and I kind of thought, well, I'd like to have a great story. Headaches, period pain. It's not exactly a great testimonial. And I kept thinking to myself, well, I really need a great story. I would have liked to have a great story. Needless to say, it wasn't long after that. Our canine narcotics dog had a bad day, or I don't know, maybe I just upset it. And he flew into me, bit me really badly. And pack mentality. The other canines that were around him, when I started yelling for help, they also flew into me. So, needless to say, it was quite a bad day for me. But yeah, if it wasn't for LifeWave, I don't know whether I'd be sitting here. I had no rabies injection. I did not go to the doctor. I was supposed to get stitches. I didn't get stitches. I was bitten on my abdomen, on both legs. I had 5 bites in total. And yeah, 16 days later, wounds were healed. I have got literally 4 little scars of where the bites went in. I did not have any infection. I didn't have anything at all. 16 days later, fully healed, no muscle pain, no nothing. So yes, I wanted a phenomenal story, and I definitely got one. So I'm really thankful. I've had bronchitis in all of this. Literally 3 days of patching with X39 and glutathione over the bronchitis. My kids get sick. I stick on a glutathione. I stick on an X39, and it's a couple of days later, and they're perfectly fine. My partner has a backache. I say, come here, I'll fix it, and we stick on an ice wave and an X39, and a couple of minutes later, oh, sorry, here's my baby coming to say hi, wanting to know who mom's speaking to. But honestly, if it wasn't for LifeWave, life has changed so immensely. I can't even tell you what it's like to be able to just sit and think clearly and not have this pounding headache. To be able to know that I heal phenomenally. I don't really even need a doctor. It's just this has been a blessing, 110%. Thank you, LifeWave.
Okay, there you
so
go.
There we go. Hi, everyone.
Okay, I'm just going to stop this one.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, for inviting me on this. I've been a little bit silent.
Here we go. All right. Now, Chris, she refers to you by name, so this is obviously someone you know.
That's right. Yes, known Pierretta for many years.
Right. Okay. And look, we've got another testimonial here from Desiree. And I think this one is quite special because quite a few members of her family are now using patches, and they're all finding benefits from them. And yeah, so should I play that one now?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
yeah.
let me get Desiree up. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Sorry, I've just got to hit the wrong button. Okay. Open with and VLC Media Player. There we go.
Everybody. Thank you for inviting me this evening to discuss our testimony in the family. Can you hear me? Is it
yes,
clear?
perfect. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So you were talking about a one-day wonder. Mine was exactly 24 hours later wonder, and Joss's was 4 days later wonder. So we'll start with me. I was suffering from gallstones and kidney stones from medication that has been given to me over the years. And the gallstone got stuck in the Y branch of the kidney channel, and the pain was excruciating. So on this particular day, the doctors were talking about cutting the gallbladder out, actually. And on this particular day, Wilson phoned me to introduce the product. And I told him to go away. I'm in pain. I don't want to talk to him. Go away. Can't you see I'm in pain? Anyway, 20 minutes later, Wilson was at my door. Can he patch me? What's it at? You know, the usual question. I mean, I don't want anything in my body. I've got enough problems with the things in my body. So he explained that there's nothing transdermal, so I let him patch me. Now, I couldn't sit, I couldn't walk, I couldn't lie. I was swollen, I was yellow, I was lethargic, I was feeling very miserable. Not even a half an hour later, I managed to sit at my table talking to Wilson. 2 hours later, I'd forgotten that excruciating pain. I was still in pain, but it wasn't that excruciating pain. Exactly 24 hours later, Chris, I lie not, I passed over 20 stones.
Wow.
20 stones. 20. I had been struggling since November.
Since November, holy moly.
November.
Wow.
And
wow.
I was on medication, and yes, these things were exacerbating the problem, actually. What finally happened is it seems as if it was inflammation, and I was able to relax. And yeah, my body just worked. It was amazing that when you were saying your body knows where the stem cells need to go, my body knew that it had to solve this particular problem. And exactly 24 hours later. Anyway, I bought him in immediately, and I got my product. And 4 days later, no, the next day, I started patching my husband, Joss. Joss has been diagnosed with Parkinson's since 2017, but we think he had it prior to that without our realizing what it was. And he was deteriorating at a huge rate. We were looking for wheelchairs. We were looking for people to help us look after him. He was moody, difficult, bolshy, angry. Of course, I'd be angry. He lost a huge amount of weight. He went from a size 38 to a size 32. He had a problem with his leg. He had like a corn or whatever under his foot. And it was incredibly painful. So to do anything, and he was depressed, of course, and that foggy brain that you were talking about, he was living in that, but his was really bad. Didn't want to get out of bed. Anyway, cut long story short, I looked up at him and I said to him, okay, we're patching you. And I wasn't patching him for the foggy brain. I was patching him because his right arm was shaking so badly that it was becoming painful, because it was shaking at night as well. And his leg was also shaking on the right-hand side. So I'm shaking him. I'm patching him for the shaking arm, and nothing happened. And I'm like, oh my word. You know, I had 24 hours, and I'm like, oh my word. You know, what else can I do? So I come into work. I live in where I work, and I walk into my office, and I sit down, and about 10 minutes later, Joss walks through the door. And Chris, it was like a veil that lifted.
Yep.
And there was my husband. The life was in his eyes. I can't explain it to you. The man that was lost was right back in his eyes. I could feel him. I could see him. I could communicate with him. He like was in shock. Suddenly he was aware of his surroundings as such. It has changed our lives. And yes, we have good days, we have bad days, of course we do, but everybody does. And I just want to say that I'm very grateful to Wilson for actually introducing me to this fantastic product. And then, of course, Kenneth, who's handicapped, autism, brain damage, etc., physical disabilities as well. He walked into the room and he said, I also want to be patched. So we patched Kenneth as well. Now, Kenneth started balding at 19, I think, 19 or 20 years old. So he had his big bald patch, which he was very wary about. And his hair started growing. So the change in our family is just, I can't even explain it. It's just amazing. And just thank you very much. And I'm hoping that sharing this story will give hope to other people with Alzheimer's or any mental or physical or psychological problem. And we just need to keep patching. That's all I can say. Thank you, Chris. Bye, everybody. Thank you
Okay, there we go. Okay, I've just finished that one. That was talking about her son, her husband, and herself and their personal story. And again, that's obviously someone in your line because she refers to you and you actually come up in the video. Do you want to give us a little bit of background to that?
Yeah, what's interesting is Pierretta is somebody that I know personally, which I shared it with, and then Desiree is like a new person that's part of the family. So what's so amazing is you actually become part of a community, which is so awesome. And you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. There's a whole support structure, and we help everybody step by step. Now, Desiree, the way I met Desiree is through a very good friend of mine by the name of Wilson. So Wilson, at the end of last year, I met with him, and his mom has had problems with her back. And I went to go see him, and he got the X39 as well, went down to Cape Town, saw his mom in December. What's quite interesting is his mom was bedridden for about 6 months. She could not even get out of bed from the pain that she had on her back. Now, what happened is a year prior, she went for injections on her lower back, and that cost about 20,000 Rand for one injection.
Wow.
And they said it would last for the year. You know how long it lasted? 7 days. 7 days. Yep. So, so she was bedridden from June last year. And so Wilson went down with a patch and went to his mom. And with the X39, you know, we talk about putting it at the back of your neck or below the belly button. You can actually put it directly on the area of pain. And he put it on his mom's back, the lower back on the spine. And he went to go and make a cup of coffee, and he was busy on his phone and carrying on. 45 minutes later, his mom came walking to him and said, I don't know what you've done, but my pain is disappearing.
Wow.
And that was like a turning point for Wilson. And then Wilson knows Desiree. So Wilson patched Desiree, and that's how we've got to know each other.
Yeah.
So that's what's so beautiful about this industry, is that it's not who you know personally, it's who that person knows.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard the concept 7 degrees of separation.
Yes.
You'd be able to contact every single person on this planet, and that's what's so wonderful about this industry, being word of mouth and just sharing it with people, which is so amazing. So that's how we got to know Desiree.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's an amazing product, and I'm delighted we can actually just alert people amongst the Loving Life community about it, because, you know, it's working for me, it's working for Malina, it's working for other people in the family who are using the patch, and it is quite extraordinary. Chris, I'm going to be wrapping up this live stream soon. Is there anything you'd like to add? Then I'll ask Lucinda.
Yes, there is one thing I totally forgot to mention. Intake of water. Very, very important, because the water aids the frequencies to go through the entire body. You should be drinking at least 2 liters of water a day. And, you know, that's something that I picked up, where a person said that they had results after X amount of time, and then they send me a message going, Chris, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm not getting the results that I was getting. The first thing I ask them, are you drinking water? And they go, oh, no, I haven't drank any water. Increase your water intake at least 2 liters a day. 3 days later, I get a message saying, Chris, the product's working perfectly again.
Yeah.
So that's something I forgot to mention earlier, is the importance of drinking water. And yes, drinking water. Yes, that's one thing I forgot to cover. Yourself?
Now that I've shared my story and some feedback, I think what really hit home for myself as well, and that might help people going forward, is that had I stopped patching at month 1, I would not be here right now with these amazing results. And on lots of different levels, I can also now say that it's probably the best investment that I made for my own health and well-being ever before in my life. And with health now being reversed to a healthier, happier state, this just puts one in a position where you have more productivity, quality of life, you can perform better, you can do more. Seeing that I'm now 25 years old, thank you, Scott. Now I still have a whole life ahead of me to conquer all my dreams and my wishes. So, and definitely from a business point of view, I've been in the clothing retail industry for over 20 years. After COVID, I was looking for something that could just, you know, add different things to my life from a cash flow point of view. I wanted something exciting, something new, something that I can learn, something that I can do for the rest of my life, you know, for the next 20, 30 years, whatever, something that the world needs and brings me joy. And finally LifeWave landed in my lap. It's literally my business in a box. and I can take it with me wherever I go. And, some of us want to be millionaires and build empires and strive for big things. And some of us just want, that little bit of extra money to go on holiday, take the kids for a treat, or just make ends meet so that tough economical times just don't hit us so hard. So wherever you fall into the bracket of that, I would definitely give LifeWave as a business a look and see what it can offer you. Also coming from the retail space, it's a cutthroat, backstabbing kind of industry, and I was also looking for something that was more pure light and stood with integrity. And if I can say to you what I've seen and experienced with the company, like LifeWave, the compensation plan, what it can offer for anybody out there with a low entry-level price point, the kind of expenses that you have is very low, and what it can offer you literally immediately. It's a world-class business that builds community and really stands for what the world needs and where we are going forward, with so many, corporate companies and big entities taking over and only looking out for themselves. And here we're looking after each other, and we're really making sure that not only that you owning something extra, but the person next to you, the friend, the family member. And this way we bring not only health to the world, but also wealth to the world. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, no, and I think the really exciting part about all this is, as your line expands, you're helping more people to get healthier, because the patch is really relieving pain. It's healing. It's helping people sleep. It's doing so many different things, and so you're helping people, but at the same time, you're now actually creating financial independence, which is fantastic. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and good to see quite a few people from LifeWave in the side chat tonight, including George. Big George, we're going to call him. George is the guy who basically started this entire line, and I guess he's well on the road to financial independence now, because his line must be huge, Chris.
Yeah, no, it's in the thousands, but something that's very interesting, which people have got a very big misconception of the network marketing industry. They always talk about saying, the people at the top earn all the money. That's the biggest load of rubbish ever. This is your own business structure. Now, even although George signed me up and I joined underneath George last month, and probably going into about 2 weeks before, I was earning more than George, even although he signed me up, which is the most beautiful, fair system I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
So you can overtake. So, Scott, in a year's time, you can overshoot me. You can earn 10 times more than me. That's the beauty of this industry, which is so amazing. And exactly like what Lucinda said, we're helping people with their health and also their financial anxiety. If we can just put an extra $100, $200, maybe $500 a month into a person's household, we know we're making a difference, because your expenses are very low. You basically got your running expenses. We put aside, and because you made me think about that, Scott, by the comment you made now. Just looking at, as we earning money, we're able to buy more patches. And what we do, Lucinda and I, is we've got a budget that we put aside every month, that we buy sleeves for people that don't necessarily have the money. And we assist them and we help them initially to get started. So that's our way of giving back to the world, giving back to the community, to just give them that step up and help them get to where they want to get to in their life. So that's the beauty of sharing the magic.
Yeah. Well, you can feel the excitement that people using the patch have, and it really is palpable. You can just feel it. The positive energy. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I'm as you can guess, I'm 100% behind these patches. I think they're quite fantastic, and I look forward to the stage where I'll be able to do a lot more traveling as my line gets bigger and more people join under me. I guess that's just looking to the future. But it is exciting, and I have had direct benefits, so I love it.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for this evening.
Thank you, Scott.
Awesome seeing you again, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. Okay, take care, mate.
You too.
Take care, Lucinda. Bye.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. Bye.
All right, guys, that was Lucinda and Chris, and yes, just by way of disclosure, I'm in his line and loving it. And as you can see, I've got a patch under my eye, and it's doing some wonderful stuff. I'm going to go out tonight with Op Ons Rots. Have a great evening, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. Sorry guys, I've got a little technical hitch here. I'm going to kill that hitch by using another video program. Okay, here we go. There we go. Now we're fixed.
Ons loop hand aan hand op goue warm sand. So baie wat ek wil hê, so baie dit brand. Ek staan op my rots met golwe wat bots. Ons het geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. Dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Baie sterk, dis kragte wat werk. Die gevoel in my hart, dis vrees wat wil brand. Ons is boere met trots, met my hand teen my bors. Ons ken geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. Dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien wat gebeur, die leuen sal ons nie steen. Kom staan nog 'n keer, ek is stil, want ek weet hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. Dis geskryf soos 'n duif. Ons sal wen, aanhou glo, want hy is in beheer. Ons sien al die planne van goddeloze manne. Ons weet hulle gaan nie wen nie. hy is in beheer. Ja, hy is in beheer.